This is an emergency broadcast of the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. This is not a drill. Remove any children and pets from your home and go to your nearest shelter. Remember to at all times listen to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. And whatever you do, do not under any circumstances trust what you see.
Oh man, that's not a good way to start. Hit
Just
record again. Let's restart.
Wait, can I do that end recording? Edit.
No. Keep
Oh.
it. This is good stuff. This is what the people pay for.
Or not.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic episode of the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. I, of course, am Topher, joined as always by Adam.
Hey everybody. Hey Topher. Keyword there is fantastic.
Yeah, of course. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about.
We do.
But I wanted to get your thoughts as we open up here on the stuff we're not talking about. Like the balloon story that was just taking the nation just a few weeks ago has been completely abandoned.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's been abandoned by the media. Like mainstream media, right? They completely forgot about it. But we'll talk about that clip also on Newsmax. So it's a less well-known news station. But they have lots of good guests on. They have good reach. I think they're on cable even. But they kept it going. Of course, Corbell is on there. And then you have other independent media, big channels who are still talking about this, and they think there's way more to this than just the whole balloon thing. And I was like, all right, let's forget about this.
Yeah, it really seems like there is a lot more to it, which is why they're not talking about it.
Right, and they can't find these things that we shot down all of a sudden. It's just.
See, I'm not sure I buy that, to be honest.
Oh, you mean they're lying? Yeah, could be that also. Like, oh yeah, we can't find it.
Yeah, and
just like Roswell.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it just, also, I just think this proves how small of an attention span we as the American public seem to have.
And they're so apathetic and they just don't care anymore. The media has really tarnished their reputations. And like we talked about this last week, even if they told us the absolute 100% truth, at least 50% or more of the population, like, they're lying.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a psyop. I mean, that's how psyoped we are. It sucks.
Yeah, it's conspiracies all the way down. It really does suck.
COVID really ruined things. I mean, I know people that I work with that have woken up because of COVID, and they've never cared about conspiracies, and I have to calm them down. I'm like, don't get too crazy about this. I'm like, just keep an open mind, accept things, but don't really believe in anything either. It's hard to tell people who are new to this because you don't want them to go crazy. It's just really hard on some people to know that what the government is capable of, and it messes with some people's minds, and they go to places maybe they shouldn't go.
Yeah. No, that is a really good point. I do think COVID woke up a lot of people, which is great. But it does, at least the first, I don't know if I want to call it a stage, but the first stage of it really is you do go insane because you start seeing how fake everything is, and the shit drives you nuts. You can take it from us, dear listener. Take it from Adam and I. It really does drive you absolutely insane because you start realizing how fake everything is and how much you've been lied to your whole life. It's really scary,
right? And it's and like you keep saying, it's really hard to keep sane in this, and that's why it's best not to get emotional about anything. I know that's hard, but just to stay in the middle. Don't go this far right or far left or whatever. Don't be upset or don't be too happy about something. Just stay in the middle. Try to be objective.
And it's very it is difficult. I won't lie.
Yeah.
But you really do have to stay in the middle.
Yeah.
That's why I take umbrage, especially looking at politicians and going, oh, this person's saying the truth. This person is absolute liar. Because they're all liars for real.
Yeah. They are. I don't know where you want to start, but I think that's a good segue maybe to the January 6th thing. Because I'll tell you why. Because you're talking about politicians and liars. And the Republicans took over the House, right? And the Speaker McCarthy said, we want transparency. It's obvious the government, or at least Republicans, know that people have lost trust in our government, and they want to get back that trust, and they're trying to give transparency. So they gave the January 6th footage, which was held from the public for 2 years, right? Since this happened, or maybe a year? No, 2 years.
No,
now.
It's been 2 years, I think.
Yeah, so it's been 2 years.
I think it's been. Hold on, it might be longer than that. It was right when Trump was moving out of office.
So it's 2020. Oh, so end of 2020 then.
Yeah, right. Am I losing my mind?
No, you're right. Yeah. So it's been that long. So, and I think it's 14,000 hours of footage.
Yeah,
that's been held from the public. So of course, who gets it? Tucker gets it. And that's who it's released to. But it's going to be released to everyone else now, is what they're saying. But of course, everyone's going crazy, and this footage came out on Tucker Carlson, and it's just showing the January 6th insurrection. Not really insurrection. They're being
escorted.
Exactly. And even this guy, I feel so bad for him now. I mean,
the shaman.
I feel so terrible for the guy. I mean, I listened to his most recent interview, and the guy's so cool, and even his lawyer, who's a piece of shit, he was taking $25,000 a week from the family. He says he didn't see the footage, but some people say he did. But even him, he's saying the guy's intelligent, articulate. Man. Yeah.
I am really confused by the actions of his lawyer.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to mention: all of the people that are calling out this story that's breaking in the media are going after Tucker and talking about how bad of a person Tucker is, which just goes to show that everything he's saying. What they're doing, it's called ad hominem attacks. It's when you go after the person's credibility who is making the statement rather than the actual statement themselves. Right. It's because it's because what he's saying is truthful and factual. I am just based on the footage that we've all seen, and so they're going after Tucker, calling him this, that, and the other thing. And I while I don't think Tucker is a bastion of absolute truth. It is very telling that they're going after him as a person rather than the actual story itself, which is there really wasn't an insurrection. There were people protesting at the Capitol, but it's clear that they were let in and, as we said earlier, escorted around, the buildings by the people that were posted there that were supposedly, fighting to defend it. Which is very telling.
Yeah. If you haven't seen this, I mean,
these are the pictures you've seen of January 6th.
Yeah, these are
familiar.
These are what they showed us, right?
On a loop on every media outlet in America for the last 2 years. There's a reason for that. But it turns out there's quite a bit of video you haven't seen. And that video tells a very different story about what happened on January 6th. More than 40,000 hours of surveillance footage from in and around the Capitol have been withheld from the public. And once you see the video, you'll understand why. Taken as a whole, the video record does not support the claim that January 6th was an insurrection. In fact, it demolishes that claim. And that's exactly why the Democratic Party and its allies in the media prevented you from seeing it. By controlling the images you were allowed to view from January 6th, they controlled how the public understood that day. They could lie about what happened, and you would never know the difference. Those lies had a purpose. They created a pretext for a federal crackdown on opponents of the Uniparty in Washington.
Our office wanted to ensure that there was shock and awe, that we could charge as many people as possible.
The first thing you notice from viewing the full video record of January 6th is just how many people entered the Capitol building that day. Hundreds and hundreds of people, possibly thousands, over the course of about 2 hours. The crowd was enormous. A small percentage of them were hooligans. They committed vandalism. You've seen their pictures again and again. But the overwhelming majority weren't. They were peaceful. They were orderly and meek. These were not insurrectionists. They were sightseers. Footage from inside the Capitol overturns the story you've heard about January 6th. Protesters queue up in neat little lines. They give each other tours outside the speaker's office. They take cheerful selfies and they smile. They're not destroying the Capitol. They obviously revere the Capitol. They're there because they believe the election was stolen from them. They believe in the system. Here's the man you've heard referred to as the QAnon shaman outside the Senate chamber. These are not rioters. These are people who wandered over from a political rally.
We will not let them silence your voices.
After the rally, they walked down Pennsylvania Avenue, where organizers had secured a federal permit to hold a legal rally on the grounds of the Capitol.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
Once at the Capitol building, things began to get chaotic. Capitol police officers fired tear gas into the crowd. A few at the front of the herd broke windows. Someone opened the doors, and many hundreds of others just walked in.
They're going to make that the story.
Of course, they did make it the story. And at the center of it, the single most famous person arrested that day was a Navy veteran from Arizona called Jacob Chansley, often referred to as the QAnon shaman.
The so-called QAnon shaman. QAnon shaman.
Someone named Q Shaman.
Jacob Chansley became the face of January 6th, a dangerous conspiracy theorist dressed in outlandish costume who led the violent insurrection to overthrow American democracy. For these crimes, Chansley was sentenced to nearly 4 years in prison, far more time than many violent criminals now receive. What did Jacob Chansley do to receive this punishment?
Because I think you can pause it.
Yeah,
I think we we could show that whole clip from Tucker.
It's nuts, man. He even gave a prayer to the officers. He was in there giving a prayer, and he
was clearly made an example of. What's so ridiculous to me is that this is the kind of thing that we, the people, should be doing. I know the summer of what they call it, summer of love.
Yeah,
where it was right after. Oh my God, I don't want to do him any disrespect. What's his name?
Who?
The black man who died. I can't breathe.
Floyd.
George Floyd.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why I was blanking. Completely blanking on his name. I struggle with names. Anyway, after his death, again, I want to state, clearly should not have happened.
Right.
But after his death, all the writing that went on, a lot of businesses were destroyed,
burned down,
and cities were harmed. That thing does not hurt the government in any way. And if you want change, you go after the politicians, which is what these people did on Jan 6th.
Right.
That's the type of thing. Really, if you want change, that's what we should be doing. That's not a call to violence. Boy, howdy, I might have to cut all of this out.
No, it's not a call to violence at all. I mean, it's our right to peacefully protest.
Right. That's my point. That's what we should be doing. And the fact that it's being called out the way it is and being demonized the way it is just goes to show that the people we need to unite. Oh God. I really am cutting this out because I can't even talk. And everything I
know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that all of us need to unite against the ruling class, or the parasitic class, and they are trying to make us fight. And even Tucker a little bit. He keeps saying the Democrats and blah blah, and he is right because in general, it is the politicians who are on that side who are hiding this and manipulating this for their own ends.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, but those are the politicians. I think the people, even the Democrats, Democratic people on the other side, and there's a lot of them, like RFK Jr. Anyway, yeah, I'm like you, man. I'm not really good with names, especially when I'm pressured on the spot.
I know, right?
But there's so many of them that have apologized. There's one, she's really big. Is her last name Wolf? No, it's not. I don't know why I can't remember her now, but she did an apology letter to Republicans when she saw this footage, and she's been called a right-wing conspiracy theorist.
Of course,
she's a classic liberal. Yeah. It's insane to watch. But yes, I mean, and that's your point. Your point is we need to come together as one, and what holds us together is the freedoms and the ideals that this country were founded on. The other things that's on the far right and far left, these issues do not unite. They just divide us, and they're meaningless.
And this is what really pisses me off about government today. Okay, so people who don't know, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, shall not be infringed. Right?
Shall not be infringed.
Shall not be infringed.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of that amendment was to allow citizens to fight their government. Basically, it says the whole thought of that was the newly formed United States of America did not ever want to be under the tyranny of another government, right? Or their own government. That's the whole point. So allowing citizens to own guns is so you can fight against your own government, against tyranny. That's the point of that amendment. That's what drives me nuts.
Not for hunting.
About people who are saying, "Oh, the Second Amendment has limits," yada yada yada. That the whole point is so the government can be scared of the people, as it should be.
Yes.
People always forget the government is supposed to work for the people, for them,
right?
Not against them.
That's the agreement we have with our government when it was formed. The Constitution is an agreement that limits government and protects freedoms, right? And to maximize individual freedom. That is the purpose of it.
And they have done such a good job of brainwashing us that people don't either understand that, know that, or they have forgotten that. I mean, it was something I was taught when I was a kid. The government works for us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not Hollywood.
No,
they're not. They're treated like saviors and all this other shit. They work for us, and everyone has forgotten that, and it drives me absolutely up the wall. And and this is how good the brainwashing is. I can't talk about this under a fake name. I can't talk about this other than under a fake name on a podcast.
Yeah. I know. I hear you, man. Because the backlash is too much, and you know, I want to debunk people that's saying, well, that was when there was muskets. No, there was Gatling guns back then, and private individuals had Gatling guns. And before these bureaucracies came out, you know, we talked about this last week about these societies that create airships and these machines. You know, they were free to. That's why they were created. That's why people saw these things. You know, when you give people the freedom to do things, humans can do miraculous things. But I want to debunk the thing about, well, like Biden comes out and he's like, well, you're going to have F-16s then and nukes. And like, you know, no. Look at Afghanistan. We lost there. We lost. These guys had guns. That's all they had. Guns.
Such a good example.
You know what I mean? And they resisted. And look, they're back in power. You know, you can bomb people with whatever. You can have F-16s and you can do all that stuff. At the end of the day, if you want to occupy, you have to go door by door. Yeah, and if people are armed. Good luck, man. Good luck.
I was just gonna say door by door. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. No, that is a really good point. I know. I don't understand what the government's fetish is. Well, I kind of understand what their fetish is with, like, oh, we've got nukes and all these jets and stuff. Like, I don't think. Yeah, they can do a lot of damage, but I don't think you understand how small of an area that really will cover.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. Yeah. And it's just for fear. At the end of the day, if people get together and they're armed, you're not going to think to do it. And that's why we haven't never been invaded, because everyone thinks about it, like China thinks about it. And they have this quotes, I think, by generals talking about that there's a gun for every single household, every single American. And, you know, unless those are taken away, forget it. It's not going to work.
Well, it wouldn't be the UAP podcast without me bringing up a movie. I just watched Red Dawn the other night. Man, that movie holds up. The original.
It's in the 90s, right?
Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen. I think it's older than that.
Charlie Sheen.
Oh man, it's great. For those of you who don't know, it's a
Clancy movie, right? I mean, Clancy book.
Is it? I don't know. I don't know either way if it is or is it not. But basically, Russia and Mexico invade the United States through Alaska and through Mexico. I don't even know if it's Mexico as one of the. Mostly, it's the Russians, because this came out when the USSR was still a thing. For you young listeners who don't know, USSR, that was the
the Soviets.
The Soviets back before Russia became its own thing and all the countries broke up in the Eastern Bloc. Man, what a time we live in, huh?
It's so crazy. I mean,
I when I was in school, we still had globes and maps with the USSR on it.
Yeah, and look what it is now. It's not the atheist communist country anymore. It is a Christian Orthodox country. It's back to its roots again, and we keep treating it like it's Soviet Russia. It's not. It's still Russia. I'm not like a Russian apologist or anything.
I know, right?
I
We're gonna get flagged for this.
The guy is a tyrant, okay, and he kills political parties.
He's a piece of shit.
He's a complete piece of shit. But I'm just saying, in general, the people are not what they used to be. They're not the communist atheist country. They really they're Christians.
I think what Adam and I are trying to say is whatever news knowledge you're being fed, it's a lot more complicated than you can imagine. Things are not black and white. Everything is shades of gray. Really, it is.
Yeah, and that's why we keep saying stay in the middle.
Every conflict that's ever happened, you're only hearing about it from the side that won. They say history is written by the victors. That is 100% true statement. Mm-hmm. And just look, when you're looking back and you're being told about events that have happened, just try and look at it through that lens, because things are a lot more complicated than you can imagine.
On that note, here's a really nice clip of Russell Brand, who is a classic liberal, right? On the left.
Not the far right conspiracy theorist that the media will tell you that he is now.
Yeah, they used to love him.
Yeah,
like absolutely adore him. Hollywood. They put him in movies and comedies, and the guy during COVID got his own show and started seeing all this and reporting on it, and now he's on this path. And he was on Bill Maher the other week. I think it was last week, and he was talking to an MSNBC anchor.
We talked about this clip last week, but I think it's worth playing right now. Adam, go ahead.
All right, it's 1 minute.
To claim that the biases that are exhibited on Fox News are any different from the biases exhibited on MSNBC. It's difficult to suggest that these corporations operate as anything other than mouthpieces for their affiliate owners in BlackRock and Vanguard. and unless we start to embrace, and also, mate, like just spiritually, if I may use that word in your great country, we have to take responsibility for our own perspectives. I've been on that MSNBC, mate. It was propagandist nutcrackery on there.
So yeah, there he is calling it out. It's the exact same thing, just on the other side.
It really is. What another thing that I was talking about, another thing that drives me up the wall is everyone goes, Fox News is right-wing propaganda, and they fail to realize that every other media station is left-wing propaganda.
Right, and this guy couldn't handle it. He could not handle. He's saying he thought that they're actually non-biased.
Yeah,
they cover the facts only, not through their lens, which we know is complete BS. When you just look at January 6th, look at during the whole Trump administration, they went completely berserk, and they're all lying all the time, and they destroyed their reputations, and no one believes them anymore. And I don't think they can ever get back to it. Maybe with apologies, but I don't see them ever apologize.
No, they'll never apologize. They're absolute narcissists. I sent you that graph. I think you retweeted it on a separate Twitter account.
Oh yes, yeah.
The trust.
I think yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say the trust in news media is like below 50% across the board, and both parties. Like they interviewed Democrats, Republicans, and independents, and across the board, they listed out like Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC, yada yada yada. They went through all even like Reuters and the quote unquote neutral news stations. They listed those too, and every single one of them was like, I say below 50%. Most of them were like down in the 10 or 20%. I mean, it's so low. It's, people are waking up, whether or not you believe it or not. If you watch the news today, you're being lied to, and most people know that.
Yeah, most people know that. And I wanted to show the image. It's hard to pull it up. But yeah, I mean, it's a great graph. And like you said, it shows across the spectrum that people do not trust the media. I mean, although on the left they still do. Right?
They're definitely higher across the board on trusting the different news networks, but it still is not very high.
It's not. It's sad. It's really sad. But they put themselves in this situation.
Yeah, they did.
And this was the point of the intelligence departments. They said that's what is a quote from one of the first CIA guys.
Yeah, I think he said that to me.
Yeah, and he said that we'll be successful once we know that the American people are completely, basically psyoped and confused about everything.
Yeah.
Just to switch, we can come back to stuff that's going on. I do want to switch to UFO.
I think we should. I'm almost hoarse about all the politics I've been yelling about.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I mean, we'll definitely get back to it because it's a part of our lives now. It's if we want change, we have to do it through political ways, and it works. And as we can see other clips today that congressmen are helping us out. Senators maybe not, but the Congress is helping us out. Anyway, just to go back to the whole UFO subject, Jack Valet is a very known researcher. Yes. He's been in this since the 60s. I know you and I love his theories about this. He's always been for the whole consciousness thing. So
he's more, I don't know what the term is, wooey. That's what
I've
heard.
Woo. Yeah, woo.
Yeah. I love that guy.
So he has a new book out, I think he's been talking about this for a while. But it's a great quote. It says, "I propose that there is a spiritual control system for human consciousness, and that paranormal phenomena like UFOs are one of its manifestations." So he's basically saying that we do have owners and rulers in another realm, right? And they're trying to control our consciousness through paranormal and UFO activities, either to guide us somewhere, to somewhere, or keep us down, I guess, in a way. And here's a great. The best schedule of reinforcement is one of that combines periodicity with unpredictability. It is interesting to observe that the pattern of UFO waves has the same structure as a schedule of reinforcement. So I guess like when nukes started coming out and we were nuking everything, all of a sudden these activities started showing up, right? Trying to like whatever. Yes, they were trying to contact the humans doing this, but also they're trying to manipulate us to go somewhere or not to go another way.
Every person that has contact with a I'll call it an extraterrestrial entity, they always kind of have that same message. They're, for whatever reason, they are very well. It's not for whatever reason. It's just they're very afraid of our nuclear technology.
They really are.
I don't know if afraid is. There's something about a nuclear technology that they seem to always are trying to get us to avoid that.
I think it affects their dimension and then their world. Because,
there's something about it.
Yeah, it affects them worse than us. Like us, yeah. I mean, yeah. So I mean, it's confined, but I think it messes with their reality a little bit more because, especially when you go back to the 1945 crash that Valet talks about, the government now is investigating. It happened 20 days after we exploded the first nuke in New Mexico in 1945. This crash and these aliens that came out, and they were distressed and they were upset and they're like almost crying. That's what these kids that witnessed them felt like. So yeah, there's something there that really upsets him about this. Peter Levenda and Tom DeLonge also, what a cargo cult is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are proposing that the history of human civilization over the past 10,000 years or more is nothing other than a cargo cult. We will recreate the initial contact as best as we can with the data available to us, and then reimagine our collective human history from that point on. So basically, they're saying whenever there's a contact, like if you go back to biblical and even before that, but like a good one people always use is Ezekiel's wheels, when Ezekiel had a sighting with beings and a craft that came down. They took him up, and then so they're saying they have these experiences, and then we recreate our identity as humans from that contact, like as a cargo cult, right?
Can you just for our listener explain what a cargo cult is?
So a cargo cult happened don't know if it's World War II or Vietnam. I think it was Vietnam because it was in Asia. So the Allies and the United States used to drop cargoes for our soldiers that are on the ground, and in these huge boxes, these trailers basically they'd be dropped by plane and by helicopter. These huge containers inside was all the food you'd need. Candy was in there, canned food, MREs, and
survival stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And so these they wouldn't know where the soldiers are. They'd randomly drop these things. Now in the jungle are humans, primitive humans that don't have technology. To them this stuff is alien. It
Completely
drops down.
They're completely isolated from all of the modern world.
Yeah, completely. So they'll see these things, and who was dropping them. They know who dropped them too. So then they'll create a cult based on what happened, that incident. So they'll make runways. They'll tattoo U.S. Air Force on their bodies. They'll have small airplanes, and they'll make prayers that these airplanes come back again, these gods, and drop down these containers with food, and other things. That's what a cargo cult is. And we see it happening within human society with advanced ones and non-advanced ones. So of course it makes sense that even our advanced human society would do the same thing with a more advanced alien or maybe whatever, another species on this planet. So I really like that. I think there's a lot to it.
I can hear the sirens.
Oh wait, I need to I'll mute. You're gonna have to talk.
No, it's fine. Hopefully listeners and cuz I hope you have the idea. Oh man, they're going nuts, huh?
Wait 1 second.
There we go. Oh, you muted. Hopefully, because I think I've talked about this book, and it's one of my favorite books. I've got two separate stories to tell you. The Mothman Prophecies, but John A. Keel. Hopefully, you've read that.
I love that guy.
He basically was investigating. He was investigating a UFO flap that was happening. The UFO flap is when a bunch of people see a bunch of different. It doesn't even have to be UFOs, just weird stuff that's happening in one area. And it happened in the late 60s in this quaint town called Point Pleasant in West Virginia. Conspiracy and UFO nerds will know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, that's totally okay. It culminated in the Silver Bridge collapse, killing, oh man, I don't know the numbers, 40 something people.
Yeah, I mean, those cars on there. Yeah.
It was a big disaster. I was reading that book, and once again, love that book. And during that time, as this always happens, my roommate, she went to a like a musical festival, some place out in the desert.
Okay. Oh yeah, like a rave.
Not going to say where.
Okay.
No, it was like an actual concert, like bands were there.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
And she and her sister had a UFO experience,
like
a really weird one where it was huge, took up most of the sky, and of course they had been having a good time. They were partying and stuff. And what she was, once she got back, she was talking to me about it, and all this other, she couldn't wait to tell somebody about it. It was her first one. And I said, well, did you take a video or picture? And she goes, no, that was the weirdest thing. Once it was over, we had that idea. Why didn't we video it? Why didn't we take it? We had this strong feeling to view it, but not, take a video and picture of it, which is such a common UFO thing. They want you to see it. They don't ever want to give you proof. So cool though. But
you never told me that. That is really cool.
No, that just happened. That happened like it was last weekend where when she went. So it was I heard all of this after we recorded last episode. But yeah, no, it was really cool.
So was it one of those that's so big that it blocked out the stars, that kind of thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Was it triangular or they couldn't tell?
She said circular, and her sister, who I also talked to, she said it looked like the Millennium Falcon. That's what it reminded her of.
dude.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And they had the same thing where her sister told me completely independently. She goes, yeah, like it was so cool. And like we were partying, having a good time. And I kept looking at it. And then later, why I had no idea to like film it or record it. I was so excited to see this thing. And I had no.
It happens a lot.
Yeah, it does happen a lot.
I wonder why. I think we respect the experience so much. We don't want to ruin it or something.
No, I truly, and this is going in the woo part.
Yeah.
I truly think there's some sort of psychic thing that comes down and makes you not want to. You have no inkling. You have no idea to like film it. You just don't. That idea doesn't cross your mind.
It's like you're mesmerized.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a trance. Truly, I do.
So was it huge? And quiet, of course.
Yeah, of course. So what's I know you got that video queued up and even want to talk about it.
No, I'm trying to wait for the right time. I mean, no. I was going to say, how come these people can do it? I mean, does that mean it's fake or something? I mean, have I ever captured anything on video? I don't think I did. Yeah, go ahead.
I've got one last thing to say is my roommate, she showed me. So right before the sighting, she had taken a video of like where they were at.
Okay.
Because they were kind of like they were like in an old mining town or something. It doesn't matter. Anyway, she had taken a video just kind of showing like where they were at. And she was showing me because she looked this up. She pulled that video up later and was looking at it on her phone. You can see the top. You can see, so it was a circular array of lights, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, on this video, she had gotten one of the lights on camera unknowingly, but you can see that the sky was lit up. It's one of those things where like you film something, you don't really care about it, and you come back and look at it.
Right. I mean, a lot. Yeah, and in the past, in the 60s and 70s and 80s and whatever, people used to go just take pictures, and then after they get developed, like, wait a minute, what's that in the sky, or what's that behind you? So a similar thing.
Yes, very similar. It's the whole phenomena, and this is why I'm bringing it up is John Keel talks about this in his book. Is they don't ever want to leave proof, but they want to leave hints. And as I'm reading this book, of course, this is how the phenomenon goes. As I'm reading this book,
that happens.
Yeah, that happened.
Holy shit! I got chills.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's what happens. It's so nuts.
And in true nerdy fashion, as I do, I'm asking her like, "Did you see anyone weird? Have you got any weird phone calls?" Because I'm in the middle of the Mothman prophecies, and a huge chunk of that book is about the Men in Black and stuff.
Oh yeah, those guys.
Oh, so creepy.
So creepy. I think they're a mix of alien and human.
Honestly, I don't even. What I've taken away from it this time after reading that book, I don't know how many times, is I think they, whatever extraterrestrial entity it is, I think they're trying to communicate with us, but they're either bad at it or, like if they are really like aliens, like they truly don't understand how humans work, which is kind of the feeling I get. Is they're trying to communicate with us, but they don't know how.
Right. Yeah, because first of all, we're so different and diverse. Every time they try, it's either violence or fear.
Yeah,
it's never like welcoming. Okay, I'm not gonna say never. Most of the time, it's not welcoming.
No,
it's fear, like and going crazy, or trying to shoot them and kill them, or trying to trap them and jail them and study them. So yeah, they don't understand this.
Right.
So here's this. This is a cube in a.
And you sent me this one. It's very interesting. I don't know if you're listening. Well, I mean, obviously you're listening to this.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to see what we're seeing, but basically this thing is like kind of a rounded diamond shape.
It turned into it.
Oh yeah. Wait, it's got
too.
Does it have audio?
Look. That shit is so weird. Nah, it's weird. Look. Cube.
Look at it.
Yeah.
No, that's not normal.
It's a cube, but then it's a.
Yeah.
There's even people outside.
So interesting.
He's in Medellin, I think, Colombia.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
right.
I'm gonna have to
Our contact there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we know someone who lives there, and we're gonna have to reach out to him and see if he saw anything weird in the sky. The thing is, it's not super high.
No.
Okay, so this video is this guy is filming an object in the sky. It doesn't look like it's all that high. It's some sort of black. It's a cube diamond
yeah,
shape. It's up in the sky again. It doesn't, he's filming the buildings where he's standing. It's a very cool video.
Yeah, it's a few hundred feet, I would say. But it's not. It can't be that big. It's probably 30 feet. I mean, you can fit beings in there. It's not like I don't think it's a drone of any, even on their side. I mean, it's not like I don't think it's unmanned. Or it could be. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's about the size of. I think it's probably 10 feet, across, if that. It doesn't. It really doesn't look that big to me.
So you mean like it's like 10 feet or less?
I don't know. 10 feet. Let's say. I'll go ahead as a UFO expert and say it's 10 feet, 100% from that iPhone video I saw on a StreamYard chat.
Yeah, exactly. What about the thing Corbell released on the show that Greenwald's also talking about? Everyone's talking about. Everyone's trying to debunk. Everyone's trying to say it's real or not real. Or
very, very cool footage. You don't have it queued up or anything, but so basically it's a FLIR footage, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's of this boy howdy cigar shaped, and it's I think 4 or 5, maybe 6 pictures of this thing moving across the background. Yeah, but it's black and white. It's a cigar shaped object going across whatever they were filming at the time, and it's very compelling. It's obviously compelling footage because it was released by Corbell. Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah,
I had a burp. Oh, anyway, yeah, it's a very interesting footage. Obviously, no one is really, as UFOs go, no one is talking about it other than UFO people.
Yeah, I mean, John Greenwald is talking about it. He's great. I've been going to the Black Vault since 1995, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. That long ago. And even when I went to Iraq, I was so addicted to it. Even when I went there, we got our internet connection, I remember, and it was blocked. I'm like, what the? And it's everyone got internet back then from the U.S. government.
Really?
When Iraq was when we were occupying Iraq, that's who had the internet. Because they destroyed.
This is the first Gulf War.
No, second Gulf War in 2003.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I had to do VPNs and find his. Anyway, so I've been on there for a long time, and I'm not saying he's a skeptic. He wants to see proof, and the only proof he has is from the government. What the government's going to give us. So he does FOIA stuff, and he's a believer, right? But he's debunked many of Corbell's. Not many. One of them. There was one that was released that a pilot took a picture from his cockpit, and they said it looked like a kite. Anyway, he's now saying this one is strange. He'd usually go with like the Mick West and those guys who are always debunking, but this time he's like, no, this is something we need to investigate it more. So,
what's so interesting to me is we have all this strange shit flying around in the sky. I feel like people should care more. You know what I mean? Like there's just weird stuff going on all the time.
Yeah, and wait, let me cue this up. So he talks about quickly. It shouldn't take too long. He does talk about it. And like you said, it's pictures, right? So it's black and white pictures. The government said that they classified it as UAP. They don't know what it is. It was 2011, I think. So let's see what John says.
The object here, and let me go ahead and show you guys. You'll see it right there. These are the 6 frames. I created this animation from the 6 frames to create a video. So I kind of reversed what I think Jeremy did and then created back the video. Are there missing frames? Maybe, likely, not sure. I'm not going to get into video analysis on this video here, and I generally don't on this channel as a whole. Rather, I just like to bring you guys the information. But you can see here the 6 different stacked photos. You see that object there. Can you see that?
It was 6.
See it kind of go across?
There it is. And now, after this video, people are saying, "Oh, it's leaving a trail," and then
I was just going to bring that up. When you sent this to me originally, I was at work and I looked at it really quickly, and I go, "Well, it's got a contrail. Like it's definitely it's got something behind it, as in like it's got propulsion that's moving it forward." And I sent that to you, and literally one of the follow-up tweets is it's not a contrail. It's how fast this thing is moving. Because we're looking at frames. It's not a video.
Right.
And so the previous frames were, I don't really know how camera imaging works, to be honest. But it's just a ghost of the object moving, from left to right. It's got that little thing behind it.
Right, and that's what they're showing. So, like on this frame here is a cigar-shaped object, and behind it is the exact image of it before then.
Yeah,
and it's probably because it's a FLIR image. It still leaves a heat signature that's still there, which is so weird, But that's what technology is. And other people have looked at this. There was one account. I don't know if I sent it to you. He really zoomed in, and it's really bizarre. It almost looks like there's beings in there. Can I find that one? Well,
I either
that one?
Yes, I did. I either saw that from you or I saw it on Twitter. But the fact that this object is clearly so far away, when you zoom in that far on a still photograph, that means nothing to me.
Right. And even I tried calling that guy out on our account. I'm like, can we see you do that live? Just take it. He never did it. Even someone else came in. He's like, yeah, I'd like to see you do that live too. He's like, I didn't change anything. I swear I didn't change anything. All right, show us. But he didn't.
It looks like a bunch of people on a bobsled.
Yes. So you did see that. You did see that.
It means nothing. But also something else that you brought up. We played a video clip last week, and there's been a little bit of a follow-up to it. We played that little clip of the guy who the one on the moon where there's something.
Oh yes. Where is that?
You really don't have to play it. It's kind of the same thing as last week, or where it's just.
He tried to clean it up, and he zoomed in more. It is good to see.
For those of you who didn't listen last week, or you don't remember, we played a video clip of a guy. He's filming the moon, and there's something like it looks like it's coming out of a crater, or I said it was something stuck on the lens, I think.
Yeah.
But it's actually really interesting footage because he says, he goes, "Oh, we're clearing this up. We're clearing, the blur, because when you film something from that far away, obviously."
Hey guys, Jacer here. So I thought I'd give you guys a different view. So a lot of you guys during our live events have been asking me if I found out what that creature or thing that we saw on the moon the other day was. Well, I cleaned them up, and let me show you what I found.
You really don't have to.
This video clip was
okay.
It's a good that little clip was a good summary of, because it just what I'm trying to say is no further proof on that on what the hell it was. He says he gets less blurry, and really it never does. But
there's something there. Look at that.
No. There definitely. That's what's so weird to me, is there definitely is something there. I mean, it's cleared up enough where you can actually see there's like a shadow of whatever it is definitely
whatever it is.
What is there. It's such an interesting.
It's like a Joker hat in a way, those
with the little things, with the bells on the end. Yeah, I know. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But there's a shadow. Look at that shadow underneath. That one tentacle that's coming out.
Yeah, there's something there. There's something to it.
But it's huge.
It would have to be
huge, like a city.
Yeah, the fact that it doesn't move though is so weird.
Yeah, like they just pop up out of nowhere. It's just like a weird. It's like a plume, like a moon thing from inside. Maybe it was like a, sometimes when volcanoes explode on Earth.
Yeah, like it shoots up and out.
Yeah, but it's so slow, so it doesn't look like it's moving. From space. It's just like a plume. But yeah, I mean,
it's really cool footage. I hope it's not fake. But yeah, no, it's cool stuff. I just wish there was the fact that it stays still for so long kind of makes me question it. Anyway, it's cool stuff. It's definitely not something on the lens, but it is, it's fun to look at because it is leaving a shadow on whatever it is. It's leaving a shadow on the moon, which is interesting in and of itself.
I'd love to interview him. He'd probably come on.
Didn't you say you tried to message him and you got blocked or something? What happened there?
Yeah, I'm blocked. I'm back now, but I guess I was blocked from commenting. I must have hurt someone's feeling in some other comment or something, which I thought was funny. But then TikTok's kind of really they're conservative a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
Not conservative, and they're like they don't really give you too much free speech. If you hurt anyone's feeling,
it's a Chinese company.
Yeah.
So that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, exactly. Commies, complete commies. Like, who are these Americans? They
made it for Americans. They don't want Americans to have the privilege to use it.
Just to come back down to earth, we're having our own problems here as usual. And it was a great meme that came out about millennials, and like this is their fifth disaster they have to get through in 8 years. But people are scared of a bank run again, or 2008 playing again. For those who haven't heard yet, you should. Silicon Valley Bank has been collapsed.
Yeah, it's the largest bank collapse since 2008. We had that fun collapse that happened.
Yeah, that we bailed out these people, and they did it again. They doubled and tripled down because they took more risks. These are more risks that they've taken since 2008 because they think daddy government's going to come by and bail them out, and they're right. So these guys can do whatever they want just to make their money. You sent an article that Silicon Valley Bank paid out bonuses hours before seizure, so they knew this was coming. They knew what they were doing was risky, and they got paid out. And these are people's deposits. Banks and bankers only make money from individual and company deposits. It's not their own money. They get paid by fees, or they take that money and reinvest it. Deregulation now allows them to do all this. They can take the money you deposit and something called investment banking, and they can reinvest it to make profits, and they pay themselves out. But these are really risky. And I thought it was an isolated incident, but it turns out that it is systemic.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll put it in the show notes, but Peter Schiff, he's great at predicting these things. He predicted 2008. He's been saying this is going to happen, for decades, that you can't just print all this money and QE and prop up all these stocks and then and all the printing that happened in the past 2 years. It's going to become systemic. And what he's saying is that a lot of these banks bought U.S. Treasury bonds at, whatever it was before, at 3%, 4%. But now the government's having them at 6%, 7%. So they're going to lose money on these bonds. So what happens is if you're a depositor and you want to take your money out of these banks sell U.S. Treasury bonds and then pay you out, but they all lost money. So they don't, if everyone wants to take the money out, they don't have that money, even if they sell all the Treasury bonds, because they're losing money on it. So that's what happened with Silicon Valley. And apparently it's going to happen with every other bank. And now FDIC is setting up some structure to prevent this. They're talking about it today. I saw.
It's scary stuff. I mean,
it is, dude.
Here we are once again, banks failing.
Yep.
Just as we were, 15 years ago?
Yeah, not that long ago.
Yeah, really not that long ago. Nobody learned their lesson. Also, listener, go ahead and watch The Big Short. That movie is fantastic. Yeah. Sums up the 2008 crisis that happened.
Yeah,
these people don't learn. I said it. Was it last week? I said that we need to bring back tar and feathering and putting people in the stocks.
He was talking about
Yeah, we definitely should give it because there's no fear anymore.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
They get bailed out. Do you remember all the stories that came out after the 2008 banking crisis? Those people like flying to, they were partying basically. I mean, nothing bad happened to them.
No,
it's
nothing
just
to any of them. And it wasn't just, I mean, that was the first time, like, okay, $800 billion, but it was actually $3 trillion that they got.
Yeah.
And we sent to foreign banks too. And, the system is just, we've been warned. This is nothing new. The whole Federal Reserve System was, our founders did not like this kind of system. They knew it was rotten. They knew it destroyed countries, but, Woodrow Wilson and whoever was around him were compromised.
Bought and paid for, honestly.
Yeah. Because everyone, and that's why Ron Paul actually became a politician. It's because of the Federal Reserve. Well, not just the Federal Reserve, but because the Federal Reserve did have some restraints, right? And our currency had to be based in gold. They weren't allowed to mess with depositors' money. All that stuff. We did. It was, yes, it was flawed. Yes, it was probably, the founders would not have liked it, but it was still a system that balanced. It took in those considerations of the founders when it was created. But all those are gone. It's all gone. Now the Fed can buy. The Fed was not allowed to buy stocks. Now it is. It's just and props up these. So it's all corrupt. It's all fake. It's all. These fundamentals mean nothing. And people like Peter Schiff and Ron Paul, they know that the system cannot. It can't. It's not sustainable. And they said if we just took the heat in 2008, allowed people to go bankrupt, allowed the banks to go bankrupt, it would have hurt initially for maybe 3 years, but we would have been flourishing again. But we kicked the can down the road, and here we are today. A crisis every 10 years, and one worse than the other.
Yeah. Just never stops, man.
I don't know if you want. I'll share the Peter Schiff.
Yeah,
it's a long clip. And I don't know where he says some good stuff, so I'm not really gonna play it, but we'll put it in the show notes so our listeners can listen to it. It's a really good stream. Please listen to it, understand what's happening, and protect yourself.
Absolutely.
Truthfully,
I honestly, as a like as an individual, I don't know what the solution is. Like buy gold and hide it under your bed or something. I mean, really, like what the hell are you supposed to do? Our whole lives are tied up in this. I mean, I was reading stories on Reddit, and people were talking about like how they're not getting paid and all this because their payroll is tied into this bank, and they can't obviously, they're not able to pay out their employees. It's just like, what what are you supposed to do at that point? What's the percentage of Americans that are like one paycheck away from being, homeless? It's there's so many. And Wells Fargo was having issues. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's scary. What do you do? I mean, someone like Peter Schiff, he would say, yeah, get into gold, but then do you hide it under your bed? And gold is heavy.
And the whole thing is, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have it. You can't go buy gold. That assumes you have money. If you don't have money, what the hell do you do?
Yeah. What do you do?
Well,
most people are in that situation.
Yeah, you knock down your wall and you break into your neighbor's apartment, hoping they have something there.
It's community. We need to build communities again, because if this stuff happens, you need the community to help each other, or else it's going to be violence and chaos and stealing and killing and. Because the people who don't have like food stored or money stored or whatever are going to try and steal it, and the ones that do have it are going to try and protect it with their weapons and guns and
Second Amendment.
Yeah, Second Amendment. That's what's there for too when things collapse.
Scrimp and save, folks. Go buy a gun. It's your best defense.
Yes, exactly. It's your constitutional right for a reason.
Yep.
All right, so we're coming up to an hour, so maybe we can get to these quickly. You sent this to me, these flying platforms with men standing on it.
I found that really interesting. The reason this woman what did it say during World War I?
1916.
Yeah, she had seen a platform with men staring over the edge. I sent this to you again, going back to the Mothman prophecies. It's just my theory is, I wanted to hear your take on this, but my theory is that the reason why people see all these different objects in the air is just because, such a sorry.
She says it made me think of a bathing raft. These were the type of rafts used in the sea at that time, about 12 feet across and 6-sided.
Yeah.
So that people could dive off of them. She thought that the thickness of depth of the platform was about 12 to 12 inches. The men were dressed in blue with round blue hats, round without any stiffening, pulled tightly onto their heads. They stood shoulder to shoulder, looking straight outwards with ordinary faces like us, but staring straight ahead. She kept wondering what was making the thing move and looked up in the sky and then at the men and then in between their legs to see if there was an engine there in the middle. But she could see nothing there. There was nothing in the middle, just a hollow with the men around the sides. She says there was no sound at all.
So one of the things covered in the Mothman prophecies is this lady, not this one, not the story that I sent you, but this lady had seen, it was flying. She saw a UFO that was flying over a schoolyard, and she said there was a man standing outside of it in midair, staring at the children that were playing below, which is kind of similar to this. It's just people see very, very weird stuff when it comes to UFOs. I mean,
yeah.
You can have two people looking at the same object, but they both see different things, which I find interesting. Just my point in sending that to you was, I think that it brings up the very interesting prospect that whoever is viewing, said object, they're part of the phenomenon. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
it's through their lens.
Whatever is coming into our reality is taking something in our brain and using it to allow us to see what they are, but it's not accurate, right? Because we're bringing our own subconscious as being used as projection. Again, this is
we're
all
trying to understand, or the individual is trying to understand what they're seeing, so it has to make sense to them, and that's what brain does anyway. We see it in experiments where, with optical illusions, where the brain just fills in a gap just to make sense of it, even though it's not there. It even ignores things. It'll ignore something, throw it away, and it won't let you see it.
This is the whole, I brought it up earlier, my roommate's sister. I mean, she saw the Millennium Falcon. I mean, this is exactly
that's true.
This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
the whole UFO phenomenon. We're half of it. We're part of the thing that is happening, that we're seeing, that we're viewing. It's so interesting to me. But this goes along with the whole Men in Black thing. Is we're trying to understand something that we cannot as a human understand, and this is something that they, as extraterrestrial entity phenomenon, they can't understand either. They're trying to communicate with us, and that's why it's so weird. It's so weird because they don't know what it means to be human, and we don't know what it means to be that ET. You know what I'm saying? It's such a weird. It's such a weird phenomenon. I love it.
I know. That's why we need to do a CE5 and just go out there to that cliff I told you about.
I know we keep talking about it.
We should just do it. We could record on our phones or something.
I was gonna say, I think a phone is the best way to do it.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? We can do it. I have a way, because whoever we host with the podcast, they have an app, and we can do it that way.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. All right. Just for the last clip, just to cue it up, is on Newsmax. I know we started out with this, but here's a clip with the congressman on and Corbell talking about what the government is doing, how they're trying to change laws to. I think even Jeremy tells him that you have the power and oversight to go after these special access programs. Here, let me just cue it up.
Well, 1947, I think it's pretty clear there was a UFO crash or a midair collision, Roswell, New Mexico, military intelligence, which is a whole lot like congressional ethics. It really doesn't exist. But military intelligence comes out and says, we've in fact recovered a craft and a saucer. And then the next day they ring this poor lieutenant colonel out and say, oh no, it was a hot air balloon. You know, we've got our top pilots in the world are some of our Navy and Air Force pilots.
Yeah.
And they are in fact spotting these things. I've talked to them. They're not allowed to testify in congressional hearings.
Our military pilots are spotting these, and we've seen this reported a lot, but they're not allowed to testify, you're saying?
That is correct.
Wow.
We had one there at the Intelligence Committee that was open to the public. It was Democrat controlled. I don't expect much better from the Republicans. I think it goes a lot deeper.
And let me just,
got a lot of people compromised, brother.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jeremy, I want to talk to you for a second. The Pentagon's UFO chief, this is a Pentagon guy, a UFO chief, the chairman of Harvard's astronomy department as well, both releasing a report on Tuesday where they wrote an artificial interstellar object could potentially be a parent craft that releases many small probes during its close passage to Earth.
That's Oumuamua.
Last week.
Yeah, that's the Oumuamua one. So yeah, now the Pentagon is with Avi Loeb. I don't know why they chose him, but anyway, it's him. Okay, Avi Loeb, Harvard professor. He's helping the Pentagon investigate this. Well, it's him because he actually wrote a book on Oumuamua, that object that came in from outside the solar system. Right? It was cylindrical, flat, or something, and it left.
Once again, looked like a cigar.
Yeah, it looked like a cigar, exactly. So now they're saying that this was a mothership, and it released smaller craft, and that's what we're seeing in our skies today.
Once again, a story that was completely it was the top of the news for 1 week. I mean, how many? What was this? 2-3 years ago? How long ago was that?
It was around COVID, I think. Right? It was during, or maybe right before it, maybe 2019.
For those of you who don't remember, there was this big story in the news. Who was it? NASA was tracking this object that flew into our solar. I say flew. They said it came into our solar system. Again, it was cigar shaped, and it came like top down instead of like, so, our solar system, if you can try to put this in the 3D terms, it's kind of like flat, right? You got the sun in the middle, you got all the planets, they're going around in a flat circle around the thing. This thing came in from above, and then land, went out through the bottom. It was a bizarre phenomenon, and it was all in the news for like a week and then completely abandoned. No one talked about it after that.
No, they didn't, except these guys. And now the government's investigating it, and it was in 2019.
No, nailed it. 4 years ago. Jeez. 4
years ago. Yeah, and here's this very deep combined image shows the interstellar object Oumuamua at the center of the image. It is surrounded by the trails of faint stars. Okay, that's how they found it. So yeah, strange. Again, another anomaly that we need to investigate and keep our eyes on.
Once again, though, I can't. I'm basing this off of knowledge I've learned from the media that I can't trust. So who knows what the actual story is there? It's good that people are investigating what actually happened, but I mean, man, this is why UFO study is so frustrating.
Mm-hmm. It is, and now I feel like everyone's doing it. Now for some reason it's just on my. I mean, it's not on my radar more. But now that we have started this podcast, I'm seeing a lot more channels doing it, and not just mainstream, but independent, and ones that wouldn't do it before. Even Tucker Carlson, he was on a show called Redacted yesterday. It was a great interview, just talking about how he's changed and how he doesn't want to lie anymore. He said he used to drink before and cheat on his wife and lie, and he goes, he doesn't drink. He hasn't drank in a decade or something, or maybe 20 years. And he said, and he says he makes it a point. He does not want to lie. He does not lie. But he talked about UFOs on there, and the guy who was on the show with Redacted, I guess he worked with Tucker, and he used to tell him about UFOs. And Tucker said he used to roll his eyes and just go, and he goes, "You are 100% right about these things." So it's coming out, and we just have to be careful. Everyone's going to want to control the narrative. Everyone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
all factions, and just so they can benefit off of it. And I think we just have to be wary of that, and just know that there's a long history of this. They've covered it up, and keep an open mind, stay in the middle.
We should do an episode where we talk about our UFO experiences.
Okay. I have to sit down and remember and write them down because I've had a few. So
you. I mean, you and I have had a shared one. Our whole family has.
Yeah. My mom brings it up.
That was so weird.
It was rectangular. Was it rectangular? I don't remember being rectangular. I thought it was like a circle.
See, this is the UFO phenomenon. None of us thought to pull out our phones. We had freaking binoculars to look at. I remember your daughter was like,
and the sighting was for 45 minutes.
And none of us took a picture or anything.
Because I guess we're like, what is that thing? Is it? Look at it. It's moving. It's
so
moving slowly. Yeah.
To me, and my brother can confirm this. He was there.
Mm-hmm.
It was shaped like a dreidel with like something that stuck out of the top, like an antenna or something. See, that's what I remember seeing pretty well. That we Adam and I, we called UFON.
Yeah, MUFON.
I'm sorry, MUFON.
Yeah, MUFON.
Yeah, and
I got in touch with him, and he called you though, right?
Yeah, I spoke to him on the phone. He asked me to describe the event, and then he asked me to describe it to him backwards. I'm assuming that's a MUFON technique for interviewing.
Huh.
Anyway, but he wrote back to both of us and said basically what it came down to was he thought we were making it up.
Yeah, he was, and then I'm like, what the fuck? What an asshole! So I looked him up on LinkedIn, and he's a military contractor, defense contractor. So
you can't make this up.
Yeah, no, you cannot make this up. I can go back actually to the report and see what I wrote to him.
Actually,
there might have been discrepancies in our stories. Maybe that's why he thought we're making it up. I'm not sure why.
Here, you know what? We've been teasing it. Go ahead. I want you to share. We're a little bit over our thing that we try and do, but who cares? Extra long episode this week. Go ahead and describe the event as it happened to you, and then I'll share my side of it.
Let me just say, I did look at it. Oh, we did send a picture.
Yeah.
Oh, video. Yes, we had a video. He goes, I did look at it, but it was very difficult to see the object, almost imperceptible. Thanks. Because I was trying to get what is up with you, dude? Probably email at first, see what such a different schedules. He wanted to talk to all of us.
Yeah.
Well, I remember we were sitting there on the stairs, and then we look up, and I remember a white kind of just round dish, I'm going to say, because it was changing its shape a bit, and it was moving extremely slowly. It was far, so it must have been really big, and to me, it just looked like a white globe moving extremely slowly. I mean, I'm just saying extremely slowly, but still moving over a 45-minute period, and no fast movements or anything like that. But then actually it couldn't have been that far, because we were looking that way. We were looking north, and north there are mountains there, and it was moving east to us. So not with the wind or anything like that. And then we just watched this thing. We kept talking on the stairs and looking over, talking and looking over, but no sudden movements, nothing like that. But it was silence. It was big, and it was very slow moving. That's what I remember.
Yeah, we were at your mom's place. It seems like the whole family was there. For some reason, I don't think my parents were there. My brother was there though.
Your brother was there. My brothers were there, so we all saw it.
Yeah, all the cousins were there. Yeah, we were sitting outside. We were barbecuing, I think. We saw, I don't know who saw it first. I can't remember. But this thing floated in very slowly.
Yeah.
It came and it got over us, and it just stopped. That was the weirdest thing to me, is it floated in, and it seemed it was going super slow. It floated in and got right, not directly above us, but like above us where we could see it. And it stopped, and we were all taking turns looking through the binoculars at it and all this other stuff. And then it didn't zoom off. I say zoomed off, but That was the weirdest thing to me.
Another direction. Yes. See, now I remember, because I'm like, okay, that could be a balloon or something.
Right. Because it floated in. It came to a spot where it was, again, not directly above us, but above us. It stopped, and then it floated off in a completely different direction after we had like taken turns staring at it and looking at it through the binoculars.
I want to find that video. Who took it? Was it you?
I honestly, I'm like 3 phones. This was what, 5
I have it
years ago
somewhere.
Anyway, we all got a good look at it. I honestly don't remember I don't think I took a video or picture of it. It was high enough where it wouldn't have been a good video of it or picture of it anyway. To me, I think I said this earlier, it looked like a dreidel, like a triangle on the bottom, square on top. To me, I think it had stuff like antenna coming out of the top of it, but you saw sphere, so who knows?
I think it was morphing though.
It very well could have been. Again, it was just this weird experience. We reported it to MUFON. Apparently we reported it to a CIA agent. Anyway, it was just that's the one you and I have shared together.
Yes, and it's always in that area. By the way, that's the area where it's all. There it is. I have it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Should I pull it up? Wait a minute.
Well, the listener can't see anything, but I'd like to see that. Yeah.
Well, because I am putting videos up on Rumble. I put episode 12.
I hope you're cutting out all the good stuff.
I don't know if I am. I don't know. Wait a minute. Let's see if I put it in here to show up.
Anyway, your mom's place seems to have a lot of activity because, as we've talked about on the show, she's by a big body of water, and UFOs seem to be really attracted by big bodies of water. And there's military testing right off the coast there.
Yes, there is. Yeah, that's San Clemente Island.
Don't say where we are.
Well, you have to talk about that area. I mean, it's a big.
Oh boy, what's happening there?
I put the wrong screen.
All right, either you're gonna pull it up or I'm gonna end the show. So,
well, I have it. I just can't see it on StreamYard for some reason. Because it's an incognito. Oh, there it is. There it is. Because do you see it?
Yeah,
you see it. All right. So I think we're gonna be. Oh yeah, you see it. There it is.
Yeah,
it was much bigger though.
It really. That's
cameras don't really depict what you see. How come we're not zooming in?
I don't know, man. Because that was such a nothing video.
No wonder why.
Yeah.
No wonder why he shut it down.
Yeah. You can't see anything through an iPhone camera.
Okay, I don't know. All right, cool. That was good to see that. It reminded me now what kind of angle is that.
Yeah. We're like, yeah, it's not even worth describing. Anyway, we saw something cool. Right. We were supposed to have a guest this week. Didn't really pan out.
It was a family emergency, so she couldn't make it.
Right. Maybe next week we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's good. I know you sent over. I wanted to put a list of questions on there, and I did not.
That's okay.
Yeah, we'll get there. We're not quite professionals yet. No one's paying us.
No one's paying us. No one's even giving us feedback. So we're kind of doing our own. So
that's okay. We know how this works. It took us a while to get feedback for our last podcast.
Right. I mean, we're getting a good following now on Twitter. I am engaging a lot. People are engaging us. I like seeing that the traffic on the podcast is looking good too. So it's getting there.
And if we wanted to follow us on Twitter, where would we go?
You go to our handles, UAP the podcast. That's on Twitter.
Fantastic.
On Rumble, I think we're UAP podcast, but again, it's just one video on there. And I'm not. Do you want me to edit stuff out? Because I'm not. I think that one episode there wasn't too much there.
No, I'm just trying to keep our identity secret.
Right. I mean, yes.
The problem is, once you admit to doing that, everyone thinks you're CIA.
Yeah, I know. Like, what are you afraid about? But the thing is, we live in an environment that is insane, and free speech was not what it used to be, and people get reprimanded, and their livelihoods get messed with, and we're just not. I'm not in a situation, and you're not in a situation either, where we can lose that kind of stuff. So
yeah, no kidding.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it really is. I've made the joke to you before, and I think it still works. People are going to label us as the alt-right alt-right pipeline.
Of course they are. We're not with the narrative, so we're alt-right. Always. Far-right conspiracy theorists, even though, we're not like authoritarians at all or racist or any of that stuff,
I don't know. I hate elephants. Don't trust them.
Poor elephants.
Whatever.
I was so bad for them.
I know, we completely destroyed their eco. I can't even joke, be a racist. I try to joke about being elephants, and then I start feeling bad for them.
Well, cool. It's a great episode.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Well, and I hope the listener, all one of you, did too. Thank you all so much for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. That's Adam. I'm Topher. You can find us at what'd you say? What was it?
UAP the podcast on Twitter, and then you can find us on Spotify. Just look up Uncovering Anomalies podcast. You'll find us on Spotify. We're on Anchor. Our RSS feed is on Anchor, so if you do want to listen to us on Podcast Addict apps or any other podcast apps, just put our RSS feed in there, and then you can listen to us. You don't have to go to Spotify if you don't want to.
Awesome. And I am at Topher at all. I need to actually start tweeting. It's not even worth saying my Twitter handle because I don't post anything. But
but if people want to get in touch with you, they'll know how to, at you, right? They can interact with you on Twitter.
I sure hope so. Feel free to reach out to us at all times. Yeah, anything you want to talk about, any experiences you've had, please. I want to hear those juicy experiences.
Yeah, we love those.
And thank you so much for listening.
Well, yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good.